And we're live. Hi, everybody. So welcome for joining us today for the webinar. So it's called Power of Collective Impact. And we will talk about how Ascend Bit Corp. So we have Managing Director of Ascend Bit Corp with us today. So please, everybody, meet Apinand Dabpetch, or you can call him Donny. He's the Managing Director at Ascend Bit Corp, and he will share a story how they integrated carbon offsetting into the app called TrueMoney. It's the leading payment app in Southeastern Asia, mostly in Thailand. And Andrew Bono will follow, and he will talk about the kind of the infrastructure behind this implementation and this showcase. And he will talk about Carbonmark, in particular, the product Carbonmark API. So yeah, let's get started. So just a small brief introduction if you are new to environmental markets and carbon credits in particular. So let me just share a brief story of what it is. So it's a mechanism.
You can, press like 1 or 2 slide down. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure. Yeah, so let me just share a brief story. So carbon credits is a mechanism to reach net zero. So businesses and individuals and organizations can use this mechanism to decarbonize their workflows and their businesses. So carbon credits is actually a way to bridge the gap between where we are now in our position fighting the climate change and where we want to be in 2030 or 2050. It's depending on your goals. And apart from that, it's a very powerful funding mechanism. So by purchasing these credits, you can support the project that deliver tangible climate impact, like environmental projects like forestry, agriculture, blue carbon, you can name it. So and supporting this project, you can also drive economic impact, economic growth, create jobs, and support biodiversity. So yeah, let's jump in. So Apinand, can you please share? Sure. Apart from that, so very important thing, you can just use our chat for a Q&A session, and we will have it after the speakers will present their slides. Yeah, and we will be happy to answer all the questions. So just drop them in the chat, and we will read it out loud at the end of presentation. Yeah, and try to answer them. Cool. Yeah. So let's get started. Apinand, yeah, it's your go.
Okay,ครับ. So hi, my name is Don, and I am from TrueMoney, and I am also from Ascend Bit.ครับ. So both TrueMoney and Ascend Bit are both companies under the CP Group, which is actually the largest conglomerate in Thailand. And we operate across many countries. And our main business is in, well, we don't have a main business because the group is in several key businesses like 7-Eleven convenience store, or the Lotus supermarket, or the telecom True, or like even like Ping An insurance company in China. So and next slide. So under the group, we are the technology arm. So two part. One part is Ascend Bit, where I am responsible for the overall business at Ascend Bit. We are a Thai blockchain a Thai blockchain company, and our goal is to bring real world assets that are both within our group and within our group to tokenize them and bring them onto Web3 and make them accessible on the public blockchain. So that is us. And first tokenized asset that we want to look at is the carbon credit. And our channel is this slide, TrueMoney Wallet, where I am also responsible for the perhaps the previous slide. Our channel is TrueMoney Wallet, where I'm also responsible for the overall wallet app. Now, this app that you're looking at, this is the main wallet app in Thailand, and actually the number one, like the Thai native app. Not counting like the global app and Facebook and Google, we are actually the number one local app in Thailand due to its everyday use case. We have 20 million active users in Thailand and a bit more in other countries. We are operating in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, and last year we just launched in Malaysia and Myanmar. We are actually also the number one wallet in Cambodia. So if this works and grow and reception is low in Thailand, we hope to bring the carbon credit service to our wallet in Cambodia and in other countries as well. It would be quite exciting to expand it regional across Southeast Asia. And next slide. We are the largest daily users app in Thailand with about 20 million monthly active user, and about we are reaching 5 million daily active user right now. So it's very frequent, because if anyone walk into 7-Eleven, walk into retail store, then they would want to use us to pay, and we want to send money to your friends or friends and colleagues, or even buy something from the local social commerce, they would want to use us to pay as well. So they would. So we are in all your daily use cases in both financial and payment and financial services. Now, this is a new area that we are tackling. Lately, we have seen more people in Thailand care about climate change, and it's very visible about the rising temperature and the PM 2.5 solution that literally prevent us from going outside in the past week because the air is so polluted. So we want to help, but there are not many. We want the public to be able to make a change, but they are not they are not very, the channels are not so convenient. So next slide. The problem we found with carbon purchase to make an impact via carbon purchase is that in this market the process is very manual and very opaque, and there are minimum purchases as well. So some company, for example, you can probably see everywhere that airline booking, you can try, there would be an embedded payment to purchase carbon with them. And in the local, we have like Grab delivery and buy a little for the carbon offset as well. But they are not transparent. And if I try to calculate the cost of each airline ride or cost of each Grab or in some country Uber ride and calculate them back, it's quite really expensive to pay a lot for a simple offset. So next slide. This is our solution, where we find the purchase where we use the distribution channel of the blockchain, and we find the probably the best solution out there that we can find, which is the carbon credit from Carbonmark and ClimaDAO, where they essentially tokenize. Well, you already in our understanding, Drew will go on more about this, but in our understanding, essentially tokenize carbon from carbon credit that is certified by Vera and bring it on chain since a few years ago, where most of the credits sit there, and we can just use my own address or use Carbonmark's API to buy up those credit and just select which project you want to help, to contribute to, and and make a payment to buy those credits and burn those credits on your behalf. So in the next screen, I think it would be yeah. So we make it as a very simple flow in our app. Go to the carbon offset service and select the project that you want to contribute. Initially, we selected 4 projects for the customer to choose. There's a hydro project, there's a forestry project, and there's also a local project nearby in Cambodia. And select how many days you want to offset. I want to offset my 7 days of carbon footprint. And once I offset, it go to TrueMoney's cashier page where you can actually pay with like your link credit card or link bank account. And after purchase, I got the token burn in my name, and the app actually create an abstracted account with my address, and that address now hold the burn certificate as an NFT. So so I think the interesting thing for us is that each customer in TrueMoney now own an address on Polygon chain, and that address hold all my carbon offset activities. Last 2 weeks, I offset 1 day worth of carbon, and this week I offset another, I think 50 kilograms worth of carbon, and I all got and the transaction is in there on the chain, and I got the certificate in there. And while we don't know who each address belongs to, we all collectively know transparently how much carbon is burned by how many addresses user, and how many and collectively how many carbon is burned in this program. So we are essentially bringing the transparency to our 20 million active user. So next screen. Oh, there's a quick video. Maybe you can click on there quite quickly. So I'll emphasize that this is an example that for an everyday consumer app that like my parent use, like this app, we abstract the super difficult task of having a MetaMask and go onto the blockchain and having some matic for the gas, for the gas credit, and go to the ClimaDAO protocol, connect my MetaMask and do the approval and make sure, super sure that it's the legitimate channel, so it won't be like drain my wallet, and then and then buy the BCT token to and burn it. So all these we abstracted into this flow that we see, buy it with fiat money, and we utilize Carbonmark's burn API. And here I got my address, and the top is a countdown that this one I buy 30 days of credit, and it count down from 29 days, how many carbon free day I have left. So we make it into a very simple UI like this. You can abstract it all those away into a 1-minute flow, right? Okay, next screen. And with this credit, we have been embraced pretty good by both the media and users and our group as well. In the past, about 1 month, we haven't promote the it as much. But in fact, our press release just went out in the last week, including this press that is shown here. But in the past, we have brought about 15,000 users on chain, and they burn about 3,000 tons of carbon dioxide, which relatively, I'll be frank, we were hoping to be quite a lot more than this. So we will be doing more to drive this use case to our our millions of TrueMoney wallet user base. But from a public perspective, we have launched a pretty good PR to raise the awareness of the carbon credit, and we are looking to add more features to the carbon credit mini app here. For instance, recurring payment. If I burn my carbon credit for 7 days, it will automatically renew on the next 7 days, and we will have a leaderboard and to increase the payment per user, we will allow customer to purchase by the tons as well. So I want to buy and burn 2 tons of carbon today. With the API, we'll make it very simple, and with the on-chain market, the price is very transparent and competitive. So lastly, that was our goal to next slide, to make the normally opaque assets such as carbon and find them on chain and find them on chain and easily connect the normie users to get access to them in a very simple and affordable manner. We hope to reach at least 100,000 users on the app this year to burn a lot more carbon and raise awareness for these users. And this, my last slide, is that this would align with our CP Group corporate sustainability goal to have a carbon neutrality by 2020. And of course, this is on the B2B side. So once we are successful on the B2C side, as I mentioned before, we will expand the sales to on the B2B, starting with our internal group of company as well. And our ultimate, the group's ultimate goal is to be the leader in green finance in Thailand by integrating sustainability into daily financial transaction. But my personal goal is to onboard the millions of the TrueMoney wallet users who would otherwise never have the technical capability to go on chain, and bring them to access a variety of digital assets, not just crypto tokens, but real world asset token like carbon credit, like other stable coins, like other tokenized gold or tokenized stocks, tokenized US treasury, which is normally very hard to access. We want to enable them access to these assets by our channel, which we integrated into our everyday app. Yeah, that's my personal goal with Ascend Bit here and TrueMoney.
Yeah. So Apinand, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's really such a pleasure to see how you're impacting and giving the opportunity to people who didn't know they had this ideas to make eco-conscious choices, or maybe to kind of find a way to positively impact what's happening with the climate and with the environment. And it's really great to see that you can integrate it into your wallet that you're using every day, and just having like 3 or 4 clicks, you can have your carbon footprint offset. You can share your beautiful certificate on socials. Yeah, so we see quite a great exposure for people sharing that they made the choices to offset their carbon footprint. So it's really great to hear your story. Thank you so much. Yeah. So yeah, let's move to Andrew.
Yeah. We do it for the box. Yeah. So at least we do it for the public and for the box. Right now, the user is not that much. We want to ramp up, but at least we got the recognition, the box first.
All right. That's great. Sure. So yeah, let's move to Andrew. So yeah, I'll just share
our wonderful partner who enabled this by their API. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for everyone for joining this webinar, and special thanks, of course, to Ascend Bit and Apinand for your presentation. It's been great working with you all. And as Daria alluded to, I'm going to dive into some of the infrastructure pieces that enable all this functionality that we saw implemented with Ascend Bit solution. So with that, you can go to the next slide. So, why Carbonmark? Well, really it all comes down to the infrastructure that we've actually built on. And that infrastructure allows us to achieve a number of benefits, facilitating the trading and the usage of carbon credits. One of those is transparency and real-time data availability. And that's enabled because these assets are actually on a public blockchain, and we can query that information in essentially real time, both for the prices or the availability of the assets that are there. The other piece is that that's enabled us to build a peer-to-peer marketplace, essentially. So demand and supply aggregation opportunities are available through our integrations, through the various merchants that list credits on the platform, for those different protocols that have facilitated liquidity for carbon credits. One of the mentions was with KlimaDAO. They're the one, quite big player in the market that's actually helped bring on millions of tons of carbon credits into our ecosystem. The other piece is around instant settlement for transactions, and that's enabled by USDC. So USDC is essentially a digital dollar. There's over 43 billion worth of USDC in circulation, and there's been over 10 trillion USD in secure transactions across a variety of blockchains. Digital dollars are certainly one of the innovations that's going to help drive things forward in the real, so-called real-world asset space, of which carbon credits are certainly a part of. And then the other piece is the automation opportunities that we have via smart contracts. So market processes such as purchases or retirements can now be fully automated. And of course, that was something I think quite critical to the Ascend Bit solution, because they want to make things easy for the users, right? You don't need to spend time going out searching for individual projects, going through the entire process, speaking to a trader or broker to find out the prices, and then buying the credits. Instead, everything can be automated through smart contracts for that. So we can jump to the next slide, please. Right, so before diving in, just a few facts and figures about Carbonmark's metrics here. We have over 160 carbon projects on the platform today. And those represent carbon projects from a number of different carbon registries. The majority do come from Vera, but we also have integrations with, for example, Puro Earth, Eco Registry, and we're exploring a number of other registries as well. I should give a shout out for ICR also. ICR is an interesting case because their registry infrastructure also runs on the Polygon blockchain. Now, we've had over 900,000 tons of carbon retired on behalf of our clients within the ecosystem. And everything that we do on the platform, all the smart contracts and the facilitation of trading and so on, all operates on the carbon neutral Polygon blockchain. So Polygon did actually offset its footprint. In total, the Polygon blockchain is securing billions of dollars of value. And the overall energy footprint of the blockchain network itself is equivalent just to a few hundred laptops. So it's quite efficient infrastructure in terms of helping facilitate this. And of course, our activity makes up quite a small percentage of the blockchain today, but hopefully that grows in the future. And then finally, we have a quite international team working across 6 global locations. And it's that great team that's helped make a lot of these achievements possible. So we can jump to the next. So our standout solution would be our Carbonmark API. And the API is designed to connect platforms and systems. It integrates carbon offsetting directly into new and perhaps existing workflows for our clients. So one of the challenges that we faced early in the days of leveraging blockchain technology was simply that there was no easy way for our users or traditional market participants to actually connect to the assets that were on the infrastructure, for those carbon credits that were on the blockchain. So the API was originally born out of this challenge because we needed a way to abstract away the actual interfacing with blockchain itself for other types of software developers, people like Ascend Bit, perhaps, that wanted a way to integrate carbon credits directly into their payment application. So that API then enabled the interaction and, of course, the automating of the purchase and the retirement flows. So our technology provides a seamless solution to move those credits from registry accounts to our platform, where they're then made available not only on our marketplace, but then to the API clients themselves. And those can include e-commerce companies. It can include what I call carbon SaaS. So those are essentially those automated emissions analysis software providers, and many others, logistics companies, for example, and so on. So the API is a key piece of how we're working to build a more interconnected carbon market. Right? We want transactions to be fully traceable from the issuance on the registry to the final retirement. And we want people to be able to build new solutions, share the liquidity that's available, query the market information on prices and availability and so on, and ultimately scale up the throughput of the market. We want more financing flowing to these positively impactful projects. So the next slide then. So in practice, this interconnectedness that we achieve is realized in a few important ways. Right? On the issuance side, it allows us to automate workflows for transferring credits from their host registries to our platform, while ensuring that we have the data integrity there. So that means that when there's a retirement that occurs on the blockchain infrastructure that we utilize, we want that retirement to, of course, be communicated back to the registry and occurring there as well. And various registries have built different solutions for this. I think we're still early days here. I dream of a time when all the registries actually run on a public blockchain network themselves. I think it'll certainly make our work a bit easier because we have to build the interoperability with some of these more legacy software solutions. But I think we're going to get there in time. So with the Carbonmark Direct product as well, it's not only just about connecting to the existing registries that are out there, but we're also just using the blockchain infrastructure itself as a registry of sorts. Okay, I mean, what is a blockchain? A blockchain is essentially a ledger of transactions, and it can trace the issuance of different digital assets and their usage and so on. And so in some ways, you can see it as an analog to the traditional registry infrastructure. And given that we have some more novel methodologies that have been developed that aren't being supported on existing registries, I'm thinking of things similar to some of the carbon removal tech that's out there, ocean alkalinity enhancement, for example. We can then work with the third-party VVBs, have all the same documentation that one would expect for verifying the integrity of a project, but then actually directly issue those credits into our infrastructure, where they can then be managed from a Carbonmark account. So you can kind of think of that there's two flows here for bringing these assets into our ecosystem and then being made available to players like Ascend Bit. One way is by connecting to the traditional registry infrastructure. The other way is by directly issuing these assets onto our platform itself. And again, once the credits are on the platform, they can be made available to all of our different API users.
Since our press release, we actually have two entities like one of the big energy company in Thailand. They want us to list their carbon tokens in Thailand in our marketplace. So we don't know. We don't have the resource to do that. So we'll just direct them to you to see if you can facilitate that to list like the locally certified carbon credits. Yeah. But we have quite received some inquiries on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the beauty of the architecture that we have, is that we can leverage this blockchain infrastructure in really novel ways. And one of them is issuing those credits, right? So I know, I believe we're setting up a call with your team to explore directly that, but it's an exciting possibility. And of course, we want to have a more diverse supply of carbon credits for our users. And that includes projects that could be domestic to Thailand and using this other certification standard.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the next slide then, I think get into then what this means for software builders, right? We want them to be able to embed the positive impact of carbon mitigation removal projects hosted on our platform into their own products and services. That could be like what Ascend Bit's done with the TrueMoney wallet. It could be a logistics company that wants to directly offset the emissions of different supply chain transfers that are happening that they have all the data for in their system already. Really, the sky's the limit here. And there's a lot of exciting opportunities that, again, can help scale up climate finance. So we have, given the underlying infrastructure that we use, we really have better data consistency, traceability, and transparency across the carbon market value chain than one would be able to traditionally achieve. I've used this example and talks probably for the past 3 years, but if you look at ecosystem marketplace reports, they're hugely valuable. It's excellent to have these insights, but essentially we're relying on retrospective survey-based reports. And the direction that we want to move in as a market is being able to have real-time insights into market dynamics, demand, supply, the composition of credits that are available on the market, and so on. And again, this is the direction that Carbonmark is building for. So to take this a step further, we're also working on the integration of live digital monitoring, reporting, and verification data, or DMRV, from one of our novel carbon removal projects that we're supporting through Carbonmark Direct. So essentially, they are measuring in near real time with IoT sensors the CO2 concentrations in seawater before and after they initiate a process to remove the carbon, essentially bind it to a limestone substrate in the water. That data then goes directly onto our on-chain system, and we can link that data with every carbon credit that's then issued. So this is really, this is where we want to get to, where you have live data available about the integrity of the projects and what's happening to them, embedded into the digital asset that's secured through blockchain, can't be tampered with, but allows that data to be made available in a public format. All right, so with that, I think we
could
could
be the interface of something like that, having a live data stream of this asset that is tokenized.
Exactly. So one of the ways you could think about this, so Chainlink's done some work. They called it a dynamic NFT, which is really sort of the proto idea of this, where essentially you have an Oracle data feed, which could be taken from the IoT sensors. And that is used to then update metadata stored on an NFT. And that's where we're headed. Essentially with Carbonmark Direct, I think it's going to be the first use case where we start to do this with carbon projects. But you can imagine in the future, nature-based projects, you could have additional data around satellite monitoring and so on.
I see. Interesting.
So on the next one, then I think I just had a few pieces here about Ascend Bit. I mean, they've provided great overview of their application. I just want to highlight a few things. One, this is really a fantastic use case for aggregating demand and opening up to consumers a way to contribute to the climate. They have a huge reach, as they mentioned, and so we're really proud to be able to provide them a solution to connect their users with the carbon projects on our platform. The other thing is that we've helped build a carbon portfolio. It's something that we do for quite a few of our clients. So we wanted to find a portfolio that touched on a few different types of technology that's deployed in the market, whether it be renewables, forestry, and so on, and also making it relevant geographically. So I think it's great that Ascend Bit, also has a partner that's looking at the domestic projects in Thailand, and so we of course want to update the platform to support those types of assets. And that's an ongoing process because there are many new carbon registries that are starting to be developed over time. And of course, we want to be able to support those where there's a lot of demand in the market. And now taking this to the next level in a way, envisioning similar integrations essentially. Again, there are players that are looking for some sort of live solution to automatically or programmatically offset emissions associated with some type of activity. It could be credit card transactions. It could be supply chain transfers. It could be just the manufacture of different types of products and so on. So there's sort of two trends in the market that I want to highlight on this. One is we're increasingly seeing emissions accounting services become near real time, right? They're connecting with ERP systems at companies or whatever it may be, and they're just automating the emissions analysis itself. So that's on one side. And then the other side is, through the technology that we've developed, is that we can then also automatically offset emissions based on certain criteria to match with those processes that are happening on the other side, producing the emissions. And through this, it's not just about doing your carbon footprinting once a year, going out into the market, spending a few weeks, finding the credits and purchasing and retiring them. What we can do now is we can have weekly, daily, eventually, to the minute perhaps, offsetting of the emissions that are occurring and really start to better price in those negative externalities. And that's going to drive a shift, of course, in economic behavior. And that's what the carbon market is designed to do ultimately.
So a real-time stream of retirement.
Precisely. This is the future we need to build for.
Amazing.
All right. So then I think the next slide. So just a real quick one on this. Of course, I've talked about streamlining really the offsetting that's available. There's over 17 million credits on the platform today. The other piece that I haven't touched on already is just you don't have to tie up working capital when you're an API user. So I've co-founded another company that was doing emissions analysis and offsetting in the past, a few years ago. If we wanted to provide offsets to our clients, oftentimes we did need to make sure that we had an inventory available, right? And that, of course, ties up capital, and that's oftentimes how many of these players have to act if they want to be ready to be able to service demand for the credits. So in contrast to that, what happens with the API is that you're accessing that 17 million tons of liquidity that's already available on the platform. And through the pay per retirement model, the payment only happens when someone else has already done the retirement, right? So if your client is paying for the retirement, you're accessing the credits, you're not tying up a huge amount of your capital. You're just letting that money flow in and then purchasing the credits in real time as the demand appears. So that's another innovation that the API essentially enables.
Exactly. Before Carbonmark, we are planning a CapEx to buy the token ourselves and hold it and do the retirement ourselves. But with this, doesn't need any CapEx at all. We actually you guys actually credit it for us on the payment term, so that's really nice for us, small company. So. Absolutely.
Okay, and then how can we get started? Well, it's always a work in progress, as I'm sure you all can imagine. But we are continually making it as easy as possible for people to get set up with the API and start to access these benefits here. So we have a resource hub, where you can access basically documentation. You can go to docs.carbonmark.com. We also have developers, at carbonmark.com. And so essentially we have live code tests that you can do. You can get in and set up a sandbox API key so that you can already test things in that sandbox environment. And then when you're ready to get set up, we have a simple form. We can get you onboarded, contact a member of our sales team, and they'll guide you through the process to get onboarded with a live API key so that you can start accessing those 17 million plus credits from 160 projects that we have available today. So finally, just breaking down some of the key benefits here, right? Why should we use an API like this in the carbon market? And so, essentially one is it's enhanced transparency. Everything's tracked on the blockchain. You can see all these retirements happening in real time, trace it back to the credit itself. And so that's really more important in a market that you need to maintain trust in. The other piece is that we can automate the carbon credit procurement itself. And that really provides a basis to build new applications that leverage carbon credits. Again, like those automated emissions, offsetting applications for supply chain or for any type of financial transaction and so on. And the last piece is that we believe this is really helping create a more unified and connected market. So there's aspects of the API we developed which also help the transfer of credits from the registry to our platform. But then, of course, the API also aids with the purchase and the retirement itself. So we have that full stack solution to help connect liquidity across the various registries and the market itself. And with that, I believe that wraps it up there. Big picture here is that we believe greater interoperability, transparency, and automation in the market are key to scaling up our global sustainability efforts. And so Carbonmark, together with players like Ascend Bit, is really proud to be at the forefront of many of these innovations. And we're going to continue developing solutions to make it easier for organizations to meet their sustainability goals. So thank you, everybody, again, for your time today. And I believe we can head over to the Q&A period. Thanks.
Sure. Andrew, thank you so much for sharing. I think both the picture that what's happened before, what we are now, and to in which way we're transforming the market and kind of leading the way to more transparency and more interoperability, and I believe more impact. So in the future, it's really great. So yeah, let's check the questions. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's everybody is good. So yeah, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. So great. So there's a question from David. Okay, great presentation. Andrew, can you elaborate on dynamic NFTs and what that could look like? What type of sensor data would be used in order to inform the on-chain NFT? A very good question.
Yeah, that look quite interesting. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
it's not in a form of a non-fungible fungible token, but it would be like a non-fungible product, right?
So this is part of what we could look at here. It could be that essentially the project itself, like let's say a certain batch of credits, is an NFT, and that NFT then could be fractionalized into individual tons that are fungible, with each other or with similar projects. But the data would still be linked to that NFT itself. So I know Chainlink has some great articles on this. If you do look up dynamic NFT, you can get a sense of how they want to leverage different oracles to provide data to update that. I think in the past, there were some things where the NFT could have, let's say, pricing data taken off chain for an equity or something of that nature. But the way that we're looking at it, and I'll give the example of LimeNet, because LimeNet is an ocean alkalinity enhancement project in Italy. A major player in our ecosystem has purchased the first 1,000 tons from that project. We're going to be the sole tokenizer of those. They'll be available on Carbonmark exclusively. And what they're doing is that they have IoT sensors that essentially measure the CO2 concentrations in seawater. Again, before the process of essentially injecting a lime material that then binds to the CO2 in the seawater, pulls that out, and then you can measure the CO2 concentration in the seawater after that process. Now that data, they are then putting on the blockchain and making available. And that happens, I believe, on a daily basis. What we want to do is that then we want to link that data that's coming in to what we call the CMARC credits that represent those the LimeNet credits. So after we have the first verification report, we're going to then have that data, of course, available on the project page, similar to when you go to a project page on Vera, let's say, you have all that documentation from the third-party VPBs, the project design document, et cetera. We'll have everything like that on our project pages. But then what we want to do as well is have that sensor data available at the credit level. And that's going to be a second process. First we start with just the credit issuance. We make sure they get the verification report from a third-party VPB. Then the next step is let's integrate that sensor data that they're already collecting with the credits themselves. And then not to go too deep into this, but then the next step actually is you don't necessarily need the third-party verification to happen in that sort of manual paperwork-based basis. If they validate a data collection method using some sort of sensor system, then what you could do is, if you trust that data, you can take that data in and then through smart contracts automatically issue carbon credits based on the emissions mitigation or removal that's happening, that's informed by the sensor systems themselves. And then you take what was a more manual process into one that can be fully automated, or at least more automated. Yeah.
Well, that's something to look forward to. So yeah, it's really great. I think some of the projects, are really working towards that. I think just kind of doing my own research on the coral restoration, and I see some projects doing the NFTs of corals, but they don't integrate the metadata yet. But yeah, we're really thinking that the market is going to shift towards more real-time data integrated in the carbon credit, so you can see the impact in real time. So yeah, it's really great to see the integration. So yeah, we have a question from Miguel. So can you, I believe it's the word describe, all the mechanism in a short way since the beginning? I'm developing an aviation startup project and I'm very interested about everything about this theme.
Not sure which for the API itself or on this topic of kind of direct issuance of credits on chain. For the issuance. So let's see if I can explain it in a short way. Well, I'll just take another. I'll use the another example. So essentially, there's another carbon removal project that's dealing with composting, and it's a very small scale project. Again, they have a third-party VVB already that's doing the validation verification work. However, the project is so small that it's actually not. It doesn't make any economic sense for them or financial sense to go through a traditional registration process at one of the legacy registries. So what they're doing is they've used the same methodology. They do have a third-party BVB that is signing off on the validation and the verification work, but they're choosing to issue these credits directly onto our platform where they can be tracked and retirements can occur and so on. So in that sense, the blockchain infrastructure itself that we built on is serving as a basically an analog to a registry in a sense. So that's what's happening on the issuance side. So those credits, we call them CMARC credits or Carbonmark credits, but the first ones are going to be available within the next, well, I'll say 14 days, but it could always be closer to 20 or 25. But they'll be available there. The other nice thing, because those are blockchain native credits, we can fully fractionalize them down to, I believe I think we're doing 9 decimal places or something of that nature. So that's kind of nice. And then the other thing is when the retirement occurs, it's all instantaneous. In some cases, when we communicate by API back to a carbon registry to communicate a retirement, there's a 1 to 5 minute lag. And that's out of our control. That's just due to the processes that need to take place in the registry there, which means that then there's a 2 to 5 minute lag before we can fully confirm a retirement through our system. So eventually those things will be worked out, but hopefully that explains a bit more and gives you context on the issuance side.
Yeah, I'll just add a couple more, marketing stuff, because we have a webinar on direct issuance carbon credits, I believe in 3 weeks. So yeah, if you want, Miguel, I'll just send you a link, an invitation link, to your email later. Maybe you can just dive in and check the other projects, so how they're issuing the credits and how they're integrating the DMRV data and everything. Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks. So yeah, I think we can wrap up. So yeah, I think for the recording. So the recording will be available tomorrow, and I will send the link to the recording if you want just to jump in and kind of rewind all the things that we went through together today. It's just, please check for your email. And I think the other important part, so Apinand, I know that you're open to other Web3 environmental projects, and you're actively looking for, if you want to elaborate on that, that would be great.
Oh, this one, I don't know if it's one of the questions, but since our public release, we have 2 energy, one oil company and one, let's say, power generation companies that they have carbon credit from forest preservation project and other probably from clean energy project that is certified by TWER, which is the Thai government organization responsible for carbon certifications. So there's a local market for it, which trade on some obscure exchange that I think have really little to none liquidity. So they see us bringing this to the mass of the Thai people, and it's essentially like a new channel for them, for everyone, and they just like, can we list our credit on your marketplace? And since we don't want to create a separate marketplace, and these are, I bet there are probably like paper certificates that are issued by the government organization. So we will just, forward them to you to see if you can support like credits, new credit issuance from local certificate authorities like this. But they're not small, they are super big public companies, and they so that's why they already have their community CSR community social responsibility projects, and they get these credits by default, and essentially they don't know what to do with them. We will probably see a lot of these more coming in the past as these big companies have these situations. Yeah.
It's really great to see that you're leading the way here. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we look forward to exploring that further together. I think there's certainly a solution here, and yeah, let's continue building and helping bring this market forward.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for organizing this wonderful webinar. It's quite I'm quite surprised that there's many diverse and interesting audience here. Glad to be here with you all.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
Super. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.